Hello, everyone. Sarah here. We're going to be getting into signs of emotionally immature parents today, but I want to put a caveat on this because this video really is about you if you were raised with emotionally unavailable and emotionally immature parents. You most likely adopted these same traits, beliefs, habits, actions, and patterns. So although these are signs of emotionally immature parents, the true healing, the true transformation is within. So if you're radically honest with yourself, if you're really sitting with yourself and you're watching this video about them, you're going to see it's more about me. You're going to identify with and connect with and go, and every time you feel something come up, breathe through it. Allow yourself to breathe in and breathe out, to inhale, to exhale, to let it go and not hold on to it anymore. Because our parents set the stage. They lay the foundation for our belief systems that we have, that we hold, that we white knuckle and cling on to. The ways that we express ourselves come from the ways through which they expressed themselves until we see this isn't working for me. This is getting me into these types of relationships, and I don't like these kinds of relationships. So I need to change me. Yes, it came from them, but it has nothing to do with them. That was their way of being. And although it's been adopted and become my way of being, I'm ready to make the change for me, not for them. I'm ready to stop blaming them, and I'm ready to start taking ownership and responsibility in my life and for my way of being. So if you're seeing these signs within them, your emotionally immature parents, chances are you're seeing them within yourself. And if you've gotten to this point and you've stayed thus far, that's an indication that you're ready for true transformation and change in your life. And you understand and you accept it has to come from within me. It can't come from anyone else, because they're only going to change if they want to change. You can't make them change, just like they can't make you change. Anyone who tries to make you do something you don't want to do, you're going to end up with an argument, with conflict, and in the middle of a fight. If you want that, go for it. But if you don't, then stick around and stay with me. So although we're going over signs of emotionally immature parents, we're also going over signs within ourselves. The first one is they, and you're going to hear the word, then the difference between they and I. They don't understand your emotions. Flip it around. I don't understand my emotions. If you were raised with parents who did not understand your emotions, that meant that they didn't understand their emotions and they passed that to you. And therefore, I don't understand my emotions. So you may feel frustrated with your emotions. You may feel confused. You may feel unable to understand them, to express them. You may not even know what they are. And you're tired of it. You're sick of it because you're understanding this internal battle and conflict that you're continuously having. So they don't understand your emotions because they didn't understand theirs, which led to you not understanding yours or anyone else's when they express them. You get frustrated when someone expresses their emotions. You're like, what is wrong with you? All while feeling your own emotions about it. They don't respect your boundaries. They don't respect your boundaries. That's because they didn't respect their own boundaries and they taught you, they modeled for you, they instilled an unconscious belief in you that your boundaries are not worthy of respecting. So you don't respect your own boundaries, or you let other people cross your boundaries, and then you get upset and frustrated when your boundaries are crossed. That is because you have an internal belief that says my boundaries are not worthy of respect. My boundaries are not deserving of respect. They are, but because your parents didn't respect your boundaries and they didn't model respect for their own, that was shared with you, modeled with you, programmed within you. The next sign of emotionally immature parents is they won't be vulnerable with you. They wouldn't be vulnerable with themselves. They would not truly allow themselves to open up, to share, to be honest, to express their emotions. They didn't feel safe doing it. Chances are they experienced circumstances, environments, situations in their own past that left them experiencing a lot of pain when they were vulnerable. They didn't know how to be vulnerable with you because they weren't allowing themselves to be vulnerable within themselves. Again, they passed the baton, they laid the foundation. You do not believe it's safe to be vulnerable now with yourself or with others. So you put up walls, you put up boundaries, you create space, you create resistance. You say, you stay over there, I'll be over here. But I love you, I long to be with you. Yes, I know, but I don't feel safe to be vulnerable. So now there's a space and separation, and what you truly desire is connection. So if your parents weren't vulnerable with you, then you're not vulnerable with yourself. And if you're not that with yourself, you're not going to be it with others as well. And the next one is your parents who are emotionally immature frequently, that means often, that means not every once in a while, that means consistently and regularly, put you down or criticized you. Chances are they were criticized and put down frequently. They did that to you, and now you do that to yourself. You frequently criticize and put yourself down, and you more than likely frequently criticize and put other people down. Even if you don't say it out loud, you think it inside your head. You were like the master judger. You are the master criticizer. You are constantly seeing all the things that are wrong about someone and find it really difficult to see the things that are right about someone and about yourself. You're constantly criticizing and putting yourself down. You have become your worst critic, your most frequent putter downer. Like you are, I call it Debbie Downer and Danny Doubter. You doubt yourself, your skills, your talents, your strengths, your abilities, and you focus on your weaknesses. You focus on all the things that are wrong with you, and you identify with that, because it's what your parents identified within themselves and the things that they saw and pointed out about you too. Is it fair? No, but do you have to live in that state, in that internal mental space any longer? Absolutely not. And you don't deserve to. And there's a part of you that desires not to live in that state, or you wouldn't be here watching this video. Let's move on to the next sign. They blame you for their feelings and they take no accountability. You can't force someone to feel something. You can't. You can try, but you can't make someone feel something. No one else can make you, but they can try and put the blame on you and try and make you feel that it's your fault that they. And as a child, you don't understand that this is actually not possible, because someone can say, you are the most ridiculously stupid, uneducated person I've ever met. And if that's received to me, I can say, okay. And I can know inside myself, my heart, my body, my mind, and my soul that that's not true. And I can choose to not let those words in. And they don't come in because they're not connected with the belief that I have about myself. I understand that's a projection of their own pain and their own limitations and their own lack and their own doubt. And they're trying to make me feel bad about myself because they feel bad about themselves. Those are the thoughts and the projections and the beliefs and the images that they have about themselves, their shortcomings, their limitations, their lack, their inability, and they're stuck in that. And they're trying to blame me for their feelings. Well, you made me feel like this, and it's your fault that no, I can't make you. I don't have that power. You don't have the power. No one actually has that power. We can choose. We choose what to let in. It's let in through a filter system in our mind that's connected to our own internal and unconscious beliefs. So whether someone blames you or not is irrelevant. But emotionally immature parents will blame you for their feelings, and then they'll take no accountability. They'll stay stuck in this cycle of, this is your fault that it's because of you that Actually, that's not true. But you don't know this as a child. You don't have the wherewithal, the knowledge, or the ability to understand this. And as you grow up and you experience that, you get really messed up. But on your journey to untangling all this, you begin to understand and learn it's actually not possible. It was them. They put themselves in situations that they weren't willing to take responsibility or accountability for their own words, their own actions, their own behaviors, their own ways of being. It was just projection, projection, projection. But that's what emotionally immature parents and or people do to other people. They became easily defensive or aggressive. This is scary. When you're a child and you're raised in an environment where people are aggressive and projecting the aggression, it's scary. And it triggers fear inside of you. And it triggers this internal constricting and shutting down and wanting to get away from that flight response. get me out of here. Or what do I need to do to change or appease and calm down the situation? So you become the people pleaser when they become aggressive or defensive. And so again, a learned skill, a learned habit, a learned trait that now you don't need to have anymore. And in fact, continuing to have and to hold is just hurting you and all of your relationships more than anything else. But again, if you were raised with emotionally immature parents, you were raised in an environment where that was modeled. The defensiveness and the aggressiveness, again, all links back to the lack of taking personal accountability. Emotional maturity allows you to take personal accountability. And far too many people were not taught or modeled that. And so they're dealing with the outcome and the shortcomings of that. And again, it's a skill, and it's a skill that's developed and connected to the inner and unconscious beliefs you have about yourself. So in that, you no longer believe that you are worthy of being defended. You believe that you are worthy of people projecting their aggression onto you, and then you take it. You live in a take it state. I guess I'll just take it. I guess it's just there's nothing I can do about it. You live in a helpless, powerless state when you live in a state of, I guess I just have to take it, because you were forced to when you were a child with parents with that nature and that tendency. So in that, emotionally immature parents, they're highly self-involved and they seek constant attention. You hear this when you hear the word narcissist and you hear the word narcissistic parents, regardless of the type of narcissist that they are, they're highly self-involved, which means, again, they want constant attention because they have to receive it from external sources and outside validation because they are unable, they don't believe that they're worthy of receiving it internally, and they don't know how to receive it internally. So they're constantly seeking attention outside themselves and are very self-involved, which means they don't consider the needs or the thoughts or the behaviors or the feelings or the emotions of other people. And parents like this, they don't consider the needs of their child, and therefore the child develops an internal and unconscious belief their needs are not worthy or deserving of being met. So you live in a constant state of not meeting your own needs and feeling selfish if you even want to meet your own needs, or put yourself first, or go do something nice for yourself. This guilt system kicks in and goes, It's that red flag because it says, no, someone else needs attention right now. I don't need attention because I don't deserve attention. You develop a belief that you don't deserve loving attention or supportive attention. So then you feel lonely with them. You feel lonely with someone who's unable to connect with you, who's unable to be available for you. You can be in a room full of people and feel all alone. You can be with them and feel completely alone. And that is because you're feeling disconnected instead of connected, because they don't know how to connect with you. They don't feel safe to connect with themselves. And you develop a belief internally that says it's not safe to connect with myself. And so you feel disconnected from yourself. You feel alone. You feel lonely with them. You feel lonely with yourself. And that is one of our core elements, desires, and needs, is the need to be connected, to fit in, to be loved, to belong, to be accepted, to matter. And those things are not in the realm of the foundation of having relationships with emotionally immature people and or parents. So you feel lonely. You feel really, really, really lonely. In a world full of people, you feel all alone. You feel like you're the only one. And that's heartbreaking, but it's simply untrue. You're one of almost 8 billion people on this planet. There's someone who understands you and can connect with you, but it takes you understanding with and connecting with yourself first to feel that it's safe to connect with others. Next is you found yourself acting like an adult very early on because you didn't have an adult. You had someone who was adult age and adult size, but did not have the intellect or the emotional intelligence or the emotional ability that adults, quote unquote, should have. Their inner child was completely traumatized and stopped its progression, stopped its growth at whatever age that they experienced their most early significant trauma. And therefore, you were seeing this person looks adult size and they have an adult age, but they're not acting in adult ways. And so you were forced to step into that role because you were forced to step into the role of taking responsibility and getting things done. in a way that was serving, in a way that was pleasing. And so you were forced out of your childlike role and into an adult role really early. So you feel like you got robbed, you feel like you got gypped, you feel like you got the short end of the stick because you didn't get to really enjoy and embrace and really just, my childhood was so amazing. Because childhood should be about growth and exploration and learning and developing and connecting and trying new things and taking risks and really learning about all the things and having an adult who supports and guides that. But if you didn't have that, you didn't have that. So now you don't believe that you deserve to have that. See, it all comes down to our inner and internal unconscious beliefs. That's when you get to the very core, the very root of this. From that, the habits, the actions, the behaviors, and your patterns change because they all stem from and come from the core and the root of that. So if you had emotionally immature parents, you were guilt-tripped a lot. Guilt-tripped, is that a word? Let's go with it. You were guilt-tripped a lot into doing what they wanted. You didn't have a say. You couldn't speak up. You didn't have a voice. You couldn't express any difference of opinions. You were forced into doing what they wanted. And now you believe that you don't deserve to have a voice or have a say. You believe that you have to do what other people want you to do. And so you find that you're always doing what other people want you to do. And you find it doesn't feel good because it never has. It didn't feel good then. It doesn't feel good now. But it comes from you believing that you don't deserve to do the things that you want, that you have to do the things that others want, so that everything's calm, everything's fine. I just go with it. And then you feel like you're getting walked all over all the time because you are. Next is they refuse to repair relationships after conflict. There's a lot of conflict with emotionally immature people. And again, because they very, 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 very often, if ever, take personal responsibility and accept their part in the conflict, because they're always projecting it and blaming it on other people, they refuse to repair relationships. They simply move on. They never circle back around, and they never give true, genuine, sincere apologies. They never feel that they actually hurt you. They may know it. They may know, I hurt you, you're crying, get over it, you're a baby, whatever, move on, grow up, big boys don't cry, whatever it is that they told you or that you heard from them. But they refuse to repair relationships. And so your unconscious mind develops the belief that your relationships are not deserving of being repaired, that you don't have what it takes, or that it's not safe or it's unavailable to go and repair relationships after conflict. And all relationships experience conflict. And so you may find that the moment a relationship experiences conflict, you run. You ditch it. You're like, you know what? No matter how much we've been through, how long we've been through it, I'm done. I'm out. I'm not going to let myself get too close. And I'm not going to put any energy, time, attention, or effort into even trying to repair the relationship because of what you experienced growing up. Your mind says, what's the point? What's the point? It's not going to go anywhere because it never went anywhere with your parents. Even if you tried, they never tried with you. And even if you tried with them, it didn't go anywhere. And so now you believe, what's the point? What's the point of trying to even repair after conflict? Just shut down. Just shut down. The safest thing you can do right now to protect yourself and keep from experiencing any more conflict or pain is to shut down, is to emotionally, energetically, spiritually, mentally turn off. Just turn off. And then you turn off all emotions, all sensations. You feel numb to life. That's what happens. You ready for the next one? I know it's a lot, but it's okay. There's light at the end of the tunnel. I can assure you, I can promise you, I've worked with so many people who were living in the light after coming out of the darkness of experiences like this. So interactions feel one-sided and frustrating. Interactions felt one-sided and frustrating with emotionally immature parents and people. And now you experience that within yourself. The interactions you have with yourself feel one-sided. It doesn't feel like you receive or are able to have any support because it feels like you're in this one-sided relationship with yourself where you hear yourself, but it also sounds like You're not hearing me. And you experience and hear this battle inside your head and inside your mind. And it feels frustrating. It feels heavy. It feels disappointing. So you have interactions within yourself that feel one-sided and they feel very like, ugh, ugh. And then it feels like you're just stuck behind that frustration and tension constantly. And you don't know where to go. You've always got to go with them within the unconscious beliefs that you developed about yourself that leave you to believing that no, all relationships are one-sided. They're going to get what they want. I'm not going to get what I want. And so what's the use and what's the point? Because you experience that tension and the frustration from the conflict. So that leads to the next sign of emotionally immature parents. They have dramatic and high emotional reactions. They're never solid. They're never stable. They're never, okay, I see your point. Let's work through this together. It's always one-sided. It's always lots of drama. It's lots of high emotions and lots of expressed emotions where you feel like, ooh, high emotional reactions. They're like volcanoes that just explode constantly. And you're tired of the explosions. You're tired of being burned by the explosion. And so you believe, okay, I'm just going to play small. I'm just going to hide. I'm not worthy of it. And so I guess all engagements, interactions, connections have to be high conflict, high drama. And so if you find that your life is high drama, high conflict, high and low and high and low, that's because of what you were taught, modeled, and raised with. So if you're looking around and you're going, why is everything so dramatic? Why does it feel like my life and my friendships and everything that has to do with my career, my job, my what? It feels like it could be on a TV show, honestly. It would be like the number one hit TV show. That is because you weren't taught and modeled that there are ways to work through conflict in a healthy way, in a way that is serving and beneficial for both sides and both parties. So that is something that you need to begin to learn. But you have to believe that you're worthy and deserving of it internally and unconsciously before you'll ever find that the external work you do to try and receive or achieve that will actually land in a place that allows you to experience it. Okay. So emotionally immature parents, again, AKA, you're going to see this pattern within yourself, have little respect for differences. So you're going to find that you have very little respect for differences from other people to you. You're going to find like if they're not like you, then they're not like me, right? I don't like them. I don't accept them. I find that I reject them. And you find that disconnect within relationships because we're all different. And you're going to find that you have very little toleration of respect for differences. Everyone is different though. Every human is different. Every experience is different. And you're going to find that you perhaps experience that you're highly volatile when it comes to differences. And so you're highly volatile all the time because everything is different. And because of the differences, you feel like you don't fit in, you don't belong, and you don't matter, and you can't connect. Well, how can we connect through our differences if we have little or no respect for differences? Got it? Okay. Next and last thing that we'll go over is that emotionally immature parents try to trigger you. They find humor in other people's pain. They find that it's funny. And so they will intentionally, consistently, and constantly trigger you. But if you've followed me for any length of time, you know that I love triggers. Triggers are teachers. Triggers are emotional gateways to connect with ourselves. But they try to do that because they fear being triggered themselves. So they're going to be the one to trigger instead of being the one to be triggered. And then you find that you're the one to be triggered and you might do things unconsciously and you don't like it, but you fear being triggered. And so you try to trigger other people. You don't try to, but you end up triggering. And then you're like, I don't know, whatever. And then again, high emotional reaction, disconnection, frustration, all of the things that you experience within yourself. And you may be living through this lens of other people are out to get me. Other people are trying to trigger me. Why is it that they are always doing this to me? And you find that you take everything personal. It seems like everyone's trying to trigger me. Everyone's like in my way. And you just don't like your state of living, your emotional state of living. So that's what happens when you're raised with emotionally mature parents. Fun times, eh? Very fun times. The key to freedom is within. The key to freedom is within the unconscious beliefs that you have, really, really transforming, removing the negative ones that say that you're not worthy and deserving of having the life that you desire, a life that is happy, abundant, joyful, consistent, a life where you're able to have, maintain healthy, strong, deeply connected relationships with yourself, with other people, and that you got what it takes, that you have everything you need inside of you. When you experience relationships with people like that, they taught you so many things, and they didn't always teach you things that will immediately benefit or serve you, but in the equal and energetic opposite of the things that you were taught, you know everything you don't want to be, you know everything you desire not to be. And so in the knowing of what you don't want to be, you know what you do. There may be a missing component, or you may feel like there's a missing piece to get that. And that key and that piece is within the transformation of your unconscious beliefs. And when you believe that you deserve that and you have what you need to receive that, then you do. You deserve and receive it. Make sense? Okay. So if you enjoyed this video about the signs of emotionally immature parents and you're like, oh yeah, Sarah, I know what you're talking about. If I'm being honest with myself, I see those things within myself too. And I know that I can't fix or change or alter or modify them or their way of being. If they're going to, that's got to come through them. They have to desire that for themselves. But you know what? I'm ready to get off that train and start riding the one that says that I desire that for myself and actually go down that road for me, because YOLO, and why not make it a good one? Right? So when you're ready to go on that journey and that exploration, I'd love to connect with you. You can find out more information on my website about the programs and potentially working one-to-one together. All right. That is all for today. Enough with emotional immaturity. Let's step into emotional maturity for you and for everyone else. All right. Bye for now.